Dickie Moltisanti takes control of organized crime in Newark, New Jersey after his father, Hollywood Dick Moltisanti, returns from Italy with a new young bride. After a raid on the family business, Dickie must step up to become a father figure to a young Tony Soprano. Hey everyone, welcome back to Clubhouse Movies Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Rubalcaba, joined once again by Mr. Eo Pineda. Hey. Hey,
you guys.
Today, speaking of wise guys, we will be reviewing The Many Saints of Newark, directed by Alan Taylor.
Before Soprano, we watched Tony Soprano become the crime lord he is today. Or, you know what? The show's over. Whatever.
Yeah, the show is over, and this is the prequel.
This is the prequel. Did you ask for it?
Did I ask for it? Who probably did ask for it?
Tell me.
Alan Taylor.
Damn it, Alan Taylor.
I love Alan Taylor. He's so cool. Well, anyway, I don't know what it is with gangster movies. So out of all the movies we've seen, this is the one that we've kind of pushed a few times.
We have.
And it's just sort of like, I really don't, I was just like,
do you want to see it?
I was actually surfing for more like movies on Vudu.
Yeah.
And anywhere else we could stream and and I didn't watch this one until like 9 p.m. last night.
Dude, I watched it at 10 p.m. last night. No, I think even later because I stayed up till 2 to finish this thing.
I don't know what it is about gangster movies. I remember, did you see Road to Perdition?
Yeah. I love gangster movies.
I don't. That's the thing.
But not in the sense that like, hey, I'm a Scarface kind of guy. Hate that movie. That thing sucks. But yeah, like wise guys, the lore of it all. I think that's what's cool about it, you know?
I think I don't like gangster movies to begin with is because there's so many characters you have to meet at the beginning.
Very true.
There's a lot of characters and they usually don't have like easy to remember names. Yeah, it's just hard to, getting a hold of everybody and finding out who everybody is. It wasn't until maybe the end of the movie that I really started getting people's names. I
think I started to hate the movie more, so I started forgetting people's names.
Yeah, that's nice. But you know what though? As I watched this movie, I didn't hate it. It kind of warmed up on me as time went on because I
will agree there because I did actually write a note specifically saying better gangster flick than Baloney Masks for sure.
That is actually where I was going because let's just assume that the movies we review are in a bubble. We reviewed a movie called No Sudden Move.
Yep,
and that was our other gangster movie. And I remember it being all right. However, it got more confusing as time went on.
Yes, it did,
and it got less interesting when it comes to like characters.
Yeah, there was they hit a hard wall of development there.
and what was happening. But in this movie, this is something that a lot of people complain about when it comes to some of these like sequels or like spin-offs. The more it became a Sopranos movie, the less I was kind of interested in it. Like to me, the least interesting part of this movie was Tony Soprano.
Yes. I actually wrote a note somewhere in here talking about exactly that. I'm like, why are we even watching it with his name in it?
Yeah, it could have been its own movie or its own spin-off. And I think and the way that they kept on shoehorning him into the story.
Yeah.
And it's just because we're following what's his name? We're following
his uncle, right?
Yeah, we're following Dickie, right? Who's his uncle, or maybe his adopted uncle, or uncle in spirit, right?
Yeah,
he's Moltisanti, so it's a different name as opposed to Soprano. But his name's Dickie. He's the younger Dickie, not Hollywood Dickie. Yeah. Played by Ray Liotta, by the way.
Freaking Ray Liotta,
who was also in No Sudden Move.
Yes, he was. When I saw it for a quick second, I was like, "Wait, am I watching the right movie?"
Yeah, but when I saw this one. His story was kind of interesting, especially when it came to like the first act and the young bride that his dad brought home, Ray Liotta, Hollywood Dick.
Yeah, Hollywood Dick.
And I wrote
Salvatore, I guess.
I wrote the douche became a douche because of the douche.
I think I wrote something akin to that, man. I was like, okay, it all makes sense now.
So the main character, Hollywood, not Hollywood Dick, but young Dick. We'll call him a Dickie. Which his dad's Hollywood Dickie. He's not a fan of domestic violence.
Not at all.
And I guess what happens is
when he was a kid, his dad, Hollywood Dick, would beat him and his mother. Mm-hmm. So he's not a fan of that, and rightfully so, man.
He's not a fan of it. So when Ray Liotta's Hollywood Dick, pretty much throws his new bride down the stairs.
Yeah,
he tells him what's what in the car.
Yeah,
like in the garage, like they're just parked in the garage, And he just like slams his head against
So
the
like
steering wheel
he
bunch
goes
of
in there
times.
and he's having a back and forth with his dad, and they start just fist fighting, sitting right next to each other.
Yeah.
And then then Ray Liotta gets really intimate with the steering wheel.
Yeah.
God, man,
The
connected brains.
The steering wheel penetrated him real good there. So that's the end of Hollywood Dickie. And when I saw this, I'm like, oh my God, it's Ray Liotta, and I'm like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, like really fast.
Yeah, we'll get into the next moment.
Yeah,
but also in this movie was John Bernthal, John Bernthal, the Punisher.
Yeah, so there was a few big name people here, man. I mean, you have John Bernthal. You have God, what's his name? Leslie Odom Jr., who played Aaron Burr in Hamilton,
and we got Corey Stoll, who was the bad guy in Ant-Man.
Corey Stoll, and then, which was almost unrecognizable. It was crazy to watch.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I actually printed this. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw him and I was like, his voice is a little uncanny. And then we also have comedian Joey D, Joey Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make a mention real quick is how we meet Joey Diaz's character is one of the wise guys at this party is like, hey Buddha, you got a call from Joe D. And I'm just like, what? Joey Diaz is picking up a call from himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So meta.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I caught that so quick. Thanks, Joe Rogan, for always having that guy.
So anyway, I'm going to start kind of, getting back into it. I have never, ever seen The Sopranos.
Neither have I.
This is my first interaction with The Sopranos. And I've always wondered what it would be like if you had never seen Lord of the Rings and started from The Hobbit. If you start with the prequel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in a way, that's what I have done here. And you know what? I actually kind of think, maybe I want to know what happens next.
See, I think it did the opposite for me. I think it just pushed me away, making me realize, thank God I didn't watch that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think maybe it pushed me a little bit in the more positive direction because it's so hard to break the ice for me with these gangster movies.
Which is funny because I'm a gangster movie fan and you are not.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is it's quite the conundrum.
But the movie follows with Dickie now that his father is dead.
Yeah.
And I remember writing in my notes, oh no, Ray Liotta is dead. Like I was so sad.
I know. I was like, damn, he died quick.
And then he goes to visit his uncle in jail.
Yeah. So Dickie goes to visit his uncle. And then who do we see? Freaking Ray Liotta.
Another Ray Liotta. It's his twin brother.
Like a somewhat jazzy, cooler, more
composed.
Thinking. Yeah, more composed. Speaks better also.
and apparently a philosopher. Well, it's about the want. What do you want? He's like, I want a son. No, but do you really want us?
Dude, I'm like, this is too deep.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. And I liked the fact that he kept on having to go back and talk to this guy. And to me, that was... he was almost the conscience of this movie.
Yeah.
He was the angel on his shoulder.
He was Jiminy Cricket.
Exactly.
He was the gangster Jiminy Cricket.
But it was good. I liked a lot of the gangster dynamic.
Yeah. Even the kids with their New Jersey accents.
Yeah, the New Jersey accents.
What are you doing over there?
I like that guy when that one gangster like stood him up for money or something, or then he went into the what do you call it? He went into the recruitment office.
Oh yeah. So it's Leslie. Was it what the heck
Harold?
is that guy's name?
The actor was Harold.
Yeah,
the character was Harold.
So the character was Harold, played by Leslie Odom Jr. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he straight up follows this punk. I'm assuming kid.
He's a gangster. He's one of the only saints. Time they mentioned saints in this movie.
Yeah, so
he's the name of their gangster gang.
Yeah, so that kid ran off to this recruiting station for the military during. I guess it brings up the year. The time frame was
the 70s, 60s,
60s.
Yeah, 60s. Yeah,
late 60s. And so the guy's talking to a recruiter, thinking he can get through this, and Harold just blasts right into the door and pumps him with a shotgun.
I liked the war wasn't my idea. That was the recruiter.
That was so good.
Who was not happy with it.
Man, I would have totally agreed if a guy pointed a shotgun at me.
Right, just agree with whatever he wants. He's got a shotgun. Yeah. That's how all those shotguns weddings got started, probably.
Oh man.
But yeah, then they kept on cutting back to young Tony Soprano, who was in this movie a lot. Like, I'm not talking about like teenage Tony Soprano. I'm talking about like kid Tony Soprano.
Yeah. I got serious Chucky vibes from that kid.
Yeah, he was just kind of annoying, and then like I didn't like seeing him run.
Oh my God.
He kept on running like
yeah, he was flailing
really
about.
Yeah, he's running around like olive oil.
Yeah, olive oil, dude.
And that was really distracting. And
It was, man.
And they kept on saying like, "Oh, why was he here? Why was he there? Or, like, why is he watching?" And to me, it's just like, "Oh, because the screenwriter put him there."
Yeah, so
that's the only explanation.
Yeah, so you're assuming, like, I'm assuming. Well, they're assuming whoever wrote this. They're assuming that you are already aware of who this guy becomes. So of course, this kid's going to behave this way. Right?
Yeah, exactly. There was a. I'm going to talk about horror movies again, but there was like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre prequel. And the thing about this movie, the prequel, was you didn't know who was Leatherface. And there were multiple like red herrings. There's even like a, do you remember, you didn't see Game of Thrones, but there was a hold the door guy who was like a big guy. Looked like Leatherface was now, but it was like a young guy.
Yeah.
And then there was like a good looking guy, and there's a couple other like crazy people. And you don't know who it was till the end of the movie. They could have done that with this, maybe change his name or not maybe. Yeah, here's the thing: everyone's name is like Dickie in this movie already.
Yeah,
everyone's name could have been like Tony in this movie. You know,
everybody has like all these crazy names. I just realized that John Bernthal's character, his name was Johnny Boy.
Yeah, that was his dad.
John.
That was Tony Soprano's dad was John Bernthal, and that's the reason why Dickie became the father figure to young Tony Soprano, because they put away John Bernthal's Johnny character.
Boy.
But yeah, to me,
he felt just interjected. That's what he felt like every time I saw him. And then his grown-up character had a very punchable face. I was watching it going, God, this movie.
Yeah, the whole Tony Soprano thing. Remember when they stole the ice cream truck?
Yeah, that was a dick move, man. I thought ice cream truck guys were like, no touchy.
Yeah, ice cream truck guys are hardcore, dude.
That's crazy.
But I have to admit, I have had a Mr. Softy ice cream truck when I went to New York, so that was nice.
Oh, nice.
I had the banana split.
Oh, there you go.
There's there's some fruit in there. Yeah, it's all good. But that was good. But like John Bernthal, like he was like a manufactured asshole.
Yeah,
in this one,
straight up.
I remember like there's a scene where he's arguing with his wife, played by Teresa Farmiga.
Yeah, Vera Farmiga.
Vera Farmiga, sorry. Yeah. Vera Farmiga played his wife. He got so mad at her that he shot her through her big hair.
Yeah, through her big hair, straight in the car.
Yeah, in the car, point blank. Just went through her big hair, and she's like, "Why do you got to be such a asshole?"
Yeah,
like something like that.
Like straight up shot through his own car too.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, what? He's like, "Why'd you make me do that?" It's like, what?
Yeah,
dude, it was bad.
I like John Bernthal. He was really good, and especially like Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah, he definitely sells his characters, man. Very well.
So that was a lot of fun seeing him. But
and then so I guess when that's happening is we start seeing we talked about how Dickie essentially killed his dad. Head against his steering wheel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he starts going out with his dad's young late wife. Yeah, his widow.
He calls him his Guma.
Yeah,
Gumar, which is the mistress.
Yeah,
she had his son though, right?
I don't know, man.
Remember he went to talk to Ray Liotta, and he's like, "I want a son. My wife can't have a son." But then later on, he had a son.
Yeah, so that was never explained.
They never explained whether or not he was still married.
Yep.
To his regular wife, but he called her his Gumar, so I guess like he can have a wife and a Gumar.
I guess so. I have no idea.
Since there's like a word for it.
That's weird. So weird.
There's like a At least the closest we got there. Yeah. That was the one thing that I didn't quite get, because it looked like they were like married. It looked like the minute his dad died, I'm gonna marry this Guma. Yeah, and she's gonna have my son.
Yeah, for real. And then there's nothing else there's no explanation, nothing. And then you kind of just see a kid and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also during this movie, the character Harold, played by Leslie Odom Jr.
Yeah.
He starts off as kind of a low-level gangster.
Yeah, he's a runner for Dickie.
Yeah. And then he goes out of town, and then kind of like during the second act, when we meet like the next Tony Soprano iteration, he's apparently back.
Yeah.
And tries to run his own gang. But it didn't really go anywhere.
Nowhere at all.
Nowhere at all, which is really strange. And then, like, I did ask people who do watch Sopranos because they even had like a post-credit sequence with him like moving into like the house or something.
Oh, really?
I'm like, yeah, did he come back? And they're like, oh no, yeah, that was just like the end of his story. So I guess that's like going to be a sequel or something.
What the hell?
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe that'll be like.
Well, I guess we'll watch it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it depends on if we can't find any other movies. If Nicolas Cage didn't. We saw Ghosts of was it
something of the Prisoners of the Ghostland?
Prisoners of the Ghostland because I didn't want to watch.
Saw this.
Because I didn't want to watch this.
My God, man,
that is the honest to goodness truth.
Burned into my retinas.
Yeah, which is fine. You know, I would watch Prisoners of the Ghostland before I would watch this again.
I would too, man.
Which is weird because
this movie was very forgettable for me because I kept, Ghostland wasn't that one. I remember.
You know what's funny is I think I actually rated this higher than Ghostland, which means I should probably. Yeah,
we need a grade redo.
We're gonna do some auditing. We're gonna have an episode of audits.
Is that
one
a
of
Fox
these days.
pause?
Yeah. But anyway, as we go on through this movie, I actually did kind of start to like Dickie. Like he kind of seemed like he was a good character, and he
did.
Except
he's very charismatic.
Yeah, he was a good actor portrayal.
Yeah,
dare I say, good direction.
I'd say good direction right there, man.
Yeah, Alan Taylor may get a bad rap sometimes, but he's not a bad director.
Yeah, he's not a bad guy.
Unlike some other like movies that I've seen that may or may not rhyme with schmold. Mold.
Yeah. It's mold.
Yeah. Schmold, old mold.
Oh man.
But there was a lot of good. There was a lot of. I don't think this was as forgettable as maybe you say it was. It wasn't as forgettable as No Sudden Move.
Yeah, I can't begin to recall No Sudden Move.
No Sudden Move. It just seemed
except for the twist, which is super, super annoying.
Yeah, unlike the twist of this one, I think was a little better.
Yeah.
Actually, if anything, when the twist kind of started happening, I knew it was going to twist, but not in like a bad way. Like, we'll get to like what happens at the end in a minute. I was kind of getting into some of the rest of the plot here. So imagine this woman is a young immigrant from Italy, right?
Yeah.
She married one gangster who died mysteriously.
Yeah, mysteriously.
By the way, Ray Liotta's twin brother knew that he was murdered. Basically.
Yeah.
So I'd assume everyone kind of knew. Maybe
he was murdered. I mean,
we're gangsters.
It's like he's got soft hands. He never touches wood. Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, she decides to admit that she had an affair with Harold.
Yes.
When they're alone on the Jersey Shore.
Yes.
And
to Dickie.
To Dickie. This isn't gonna go well, buddy.
Yeah, she says this. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
The irony axe is coming.
So naturally Dickie murders her and drowns her in the Jersey Shore. Yeah, exactly.
Except it was more bloop, bloop, bloop.
Exactly. So I thought that was kind of a bad. I don't know if that was bad writing or just. I guess they really wanted her to look dumb, but she looked really dumb for that.
Oh my God, man!
That hurt my soul. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna murder her.
Yeah.
Fatality,
man.
And
then I was like, and she's out to sea. She can float back.
Yeah, and then just kind of thinking back to Dickie and like the Harold. There was some Dickie Harold feud.
Yeah, well, because Harold did not want to be his runner anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He wanted part of something.
He was even trying to give him a job for a while, but they even tortured Harold's man. They put a drill in his mouth.
Yeah,
and got him to say it was Harold.
Crazy, like a air drill.
Yeah, exactly. It was the way you used to like take the lug nuts out of a tire.
Lug nut fastener. Yeah, that was.
But it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that was just there for.
It didn't go. There was no final feud. There were some good shots where there were like riots going on. Maybe Harold was trying to manipulate. It was good.
It's good.
And it was interesting seeing Dickie driving the Cadillac, and then like people were like attacking his car.
Yeah, threw a brick, hit his freaking windshield, and cracked his head.
Did he get shot? Like I think a bullet went through like his I
don't know.
Something happened, and he just got the hell out of Dodge. But it seemed like there was going to be a gang. I was looking forward to a gang war in this movie.
I was too.
It never happened.
Yeah, I was like,
and maybe it's for the sequel. Maybe Alan Taylor would know.
Yeah.
But
I think he might be holding it hostage for his Thor: The Dark World redo.
I know, the Redux.
Yeah, the Redux.
Alan Taylor's Thor: The Dark World.
Quack, 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 quack.
Why is he quacking?
Redux.
Oh, I get it. Hi-yo.
I'm here all week.
Yeah, there you go. Someone buy him a drink. Yeah, I think that was part of the thing. Everyone was waiting for like a race war to break out or something to happen.
Yeah.
Gang war, race war. But there was actually no like villain to this movie.
It was all infighting. It was infighting. The whole premise was infighting.
It really was. And I've had people tell me like, oh, you have to see The Sopranos to like get it. Do you though? Because like I got the story, maybe like some of the things like, the guy's hair, remember his hair kept coming. I guess that's like with that character's a reoccurring thing with him in the future. And the other thing that I heard was they talk about these things happening in the past during the Sopranos TV show.
Okay.
But they over embellish things or like they say things happen differently.
As they would with telling story.
Exactly. And the other thing that I didn't get with this movie, so he kept on, Dickie kept on going back to his uncle in jail. He started talking about like, one day I want to start a baseball game for deaf kids. It's called Beat Baseball, and they actually showed a clip of deaf people playing baseball with beeping.
I didn't know if this was like delirium setting in because it was so early in the morning for me. Or so late. I'm like, what? I'm like, am I really watching this right
I didn't know if it was real.
I couldn't figure out the mechanics.
Fantasy, but then he seemed like, wake up, like that scene in The Simpsons where Homer lived in the land of chocolate. Like, of course we're from Germany. It's the land of chocolate. Like, just see him like running like through Willy Wonka's like.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
But then he woke up.
Yeah.
Then he woke up. He was like, Homer, that was 30 minutes ago. So I thought maybe that was what was happening because
I was very confused.
Yeah, that was the one thing that like I remember thinking like, what? Beep baseball?
Yeah,
was this a fantasy?
I'm like, someone's gonna get beamed in the face.
Exactly. So the other thing was during one of the whacking scenes when Harold's gang was going after their gang. Did you notice that like one car like hit like a Pinto and the thing just exploded?
Okay, so it was a Pinto. It was a. I don't know if it was a Pinto. But
it had to have been a Pinto. It had to have been
because it was a VW bus that got shot in the front, and I'm like, a VW bus's motor and engine and everything is in the back floorboards.
Yeah, it had to have been a Pinto joke. I didn't go back and watch it again. I'm just gonna assume
I'm not gonna put myself through that again.
Yeah, exactly. No need.
Yeah, man. When that happened, I was like, I know this. That's wrong.
Yeah, and then just kind of looking through the what do you call it, the plot of this thing, how it has to find Tony Soprano as who he is. They just showed him getting into a bunch of mischief. They showed him with his wife, with his mom, like, oh, he's a genius somehow, but we don't see him do anything genius.
No, we don't.
We don't see him.
We just see him roughing stuff up.
A hero. We don't see him save the cat. We don't see him save the mythological cat.
I mean, they did say that he is a born leader or something like that.
Yeah, they did. There was no hint of this. Yeah, to me,
apart from him jumping the freaking ice cream man.
Yeah, exactly.
That was it. He was the first to jump on that guy.
Yeah, but the ice cream man isn't the smartest guy in the tool shed. But
amongst all the other sharp guys in tool sheds.
I was trying to think of that analogy. You know what? In one of the videos, I mentioned wedding, but I mentioned wedding instead of funeral. They killed him, and then they all went to the wedding. Yeah, these things are hard, by the way.
Yeah, we're doing this. I mean, I know it's not live to you guys, but we are saying this stuff. We don't talk about these movies until now. Even our notes, we don't talk about them until now.
No, we just make up a skeleton outline and we put this thing together.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
The script keeper.
But to me, the whole Tony Soprano thing just felt so shoehorned, and they just told you who he is.
I felt like I should have seen a movie about Dickie as a kid.
Exactly.
It would have been. Where's his just desserts?
Exactly. They could add his like jerk father, and they could add that.
He seems like a way more believable character.
Yeah. And then it almost feels like we just come to the end of the movie here now.
Yeah.
Which is at some point they go to the funeral of the guy I think who was shot by in the Herald scene or whatever where the thing explodes.
Yeah.
And this dude just slips in the rain, and then Dickie starts laughing at him.
Yeah. So who's the dude? The dude was Corey Stoll's character, Junior Soprano.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was him.
Yeah. So he slips coming out of the funeral home and like hits his Cossacks just straight up onto the stair.
Yeah, like he's like hobbled for like the rest of the movie because of it.
Like severe pain. Like they cut to him trying to make love to his wife and he can't.
But when he slips, Dickie just turns around and he's like, and pointing and laughing and like
in his face.
But at that point, like,
which seemed very out of character for Dickie's character, right? Because he seemed like this grown-up dude who was just business about business and stuff, and then all of a sudden he's this jokester.
He is prone to outbursts, though.
Okay,
killed his dad, killed his girlfriend, and laughed his tits off at this guy.
Yeah,
right. So I see it, and then I also got that this was going to come back in some way. I didn't think it would come back the way it did.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And to be honest with you, it actually kind of saved this movie for me because it was such a what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And you don't see that often done right.
Especially in a gangster movie.
Yeah,
these are pretty much cut and dry and you know what you're going to get. This one definitely made a pretty wacky U-turn for me. Especially it being Corey Stoll.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, like it's like funny now.
Yeah. Because his character throughout the movie isn't this guy who's out there just like a goomba, just taking people down for money.
Yeah. And just shoehorning the Tony Soprano thing back in. Like, he just kind of gets into like weird mischief, like here and there. And then like all of a sudden, Dickie says like, oh, I'm going to buy you some speakers. He's like, but I want to be a good kid. I want to go to jail. And I want to go to jail. I want to go to college and be a professional football player. He's like, you got to take the thing. The guy was in no way on track to going to college.
And then Dickie goes to, what is it? It's when he meets Ray Liotta's brother, his twin.
Yeah.
And he's like, the best thing you could do for this kid for Christmas is stay out of his life.
Out
of his life.
That's when everything was kind of was when he realized everything was going to hell in his world. He said, you got to stay out of Tony Soprano's life. That's the best thing you do for him.
Yep.
And he kept on hanging up on him when he called. He was like, let's hang out. And then stupid Tony Soprano threw his speakers out the window and like almost hit his dad, John Bernthal. He's like, what the hell are you doing? These are good speakers.
It's like, I'm walking the dog here. Freaking.
The Punisher. I'm walking the dog here. Come on. Anyway,
he throws away these paper mache speakers because
but the JBLs, man,
the JBLs, man,
they're the good thing.
They freaking break apart before they hit the ground.
But when Dickie gave them to Tony Soprano, he's like, I don't want these. I want to be a good kid. You stole an ice cream truck yesterday,
dickhead.
You're not going to college. You know, like,
dude. Come on, man. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
Right?
So all of a sudden you're going to grow a backbone when like someone, it's not like the police are going to come into in the 70s, by the way.
Yeah.
They're not going to come into your room and be like, where'd you get these JBLs? Like, you could print up a receipt like back then. I don't know.
You could carbon copy one.
You got it in California when you moved. I don't know. There were so many ways to do things back.
Oh, yeah. So apparently that whole thing sets off Tony Soprano.
Yeah. It turns him into like a dick.
Yeah.
And then this is the end of the movie here, but there, it's around Christmas time.
Yeah, he goes to the warehouse where
Dickie's working, and then all the gangsters they're just hanging out, and then Tony Soprano's just being a whiny bastard.
Yeah,
like I want to see Dickie, I want to hang out with him, and then like everyone's like come on, man, he's not here. Like Jimmy Tight Lips, like go home
with your family,
whatever their names are. There's things to do, and they weren't really being dickish. I guess like he did try calling him, and then his wife's like, I don't know, Dickie's here somewhere, and then Dickie's like, hang up the phone, woman.
Yeah, well you hear him.
Oh, he was married.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Wow. There we go.
So he was married, even though he had a son, I guess, from his Guma.
God, man.
So yeah, they're like, hang up the phone. And so Tony Soprano had like a bug up his ass for like,
dude, he was Mr. Frowny Face.
I know, for the rest of the 5 minutes of the movie.
So pouty. It's like when my son gets mad, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, just this ball of Bobby Hill is just like angry.
Dude, he's like Bobby's World. He's just mad on his tricycle.
Did you ever watch the end of The King of the Hill?
No.
The Fox didn't want Bobby's friend, what's his name, Joseph, to have any character development because it was originally Mike Judge's idea to have him growing up and like they would have like teenage problems and go to college or something like that. This is what I heard somewhere, so I don't know. But they said since they had no reason for Bobby Hill to exist anymore, they just made him like a malcontent kid, and they just had him. You always saw him in the background driving like a like a go-kart in circles and like crashing into trees, just getting into trouble. He was just in the background, and then like you just see Hank Hill like, like give him like a stern face, like. But
God.
And it's funny though. I was thinking about this. That's what they would do with Tony Soprano. They didn't know what to do with him, so they just made him like a malcontent throughout the movie.
He was. That's all he was.
And it's funny because he ended up looking like Bobby Hill, but he acted like Joseph Hill or Joseph Gribble.
He's like, God dang it, Bobby.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find some clips and put it up on the YouTube version there.
Oh man.
But anyway, then you kind of feel bad for Dickie at the end because he had to ignore, like his nephew or whoever, however he was related to him.
And then he parks at home and he
hangs out.
What the heck is he getting out of his trunk? He's
getting just toys. It's like presents because it's Christmas time.
Oh, right.
And then some dude just comes up to him and just shoots him.
Yeah.
And then walks away.
Like a pea shooter. Pap, pap.
Yeah, and I don't know if we knew who this guy was because at first I was like, who the hell was that?
Yeah, I don't know who that was.
But then he goes to like a payphone and he calls Corey Stahl and he's like, it's done. He's like, good. The bastard like laughed at me. Yeah. That's not cool, man.
I'm like, wow, that is King Petty right there.
Yeah, but it was like, it was sad though to see him die. I will admit that. And
it felt, you know what? I think it was sad because it felt unnecessary.
It felt unnecessary, but it felt earned.
It felt earned. And I guess, if anything, because we didn't see anything happen throughout this whole movie where Tony Soprano, actually look at my notes for his name.
Who?
Excuse me. Where Tony Soprano, look at
the picture of him on like the covers, like
goober. Yeah. But so there's nothing that was going to turn Tony Soprano into Tony Soprano until that moment. So you have to kind of have it there as the catalyst, and it happens right at the end.
It does, but I actually like in the end I felt it was like it was an earned death.
Yeah.
So to me, when you kill the main character of your movie, it has to be earned.
It does.
And the thing about this, like, and believe it or
not,
you
slipped out a banana. Got stabbed.
I don't know. I think I'm going to release this before another movie where the main character gets killed.
Oh, really?
But I'm going to say that this was all right. This was a good death of a character that you felt for at the end. And
you know what?
And I
agree.
And it set I could see how this set things into motion.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. But anyway, I think, sorry. My earballs. So yeah, they go to the funeral.
Yeah.
Tony Soprano just looks like angry at like the camera. I'm like, okay, I'm in this movie. Time to become something.
Yeah. He's like, I'm me.
They play the theme, and then Harold moves into some neighborhood, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's it.
So whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But I'm going to compare this to another movie. Made another. Was a TV spin-off movie.
Yeah.
I know you didn't get into Breaking Bad, but I know a lot of people did. But Breaking Bad actually had a TV movie called El Camino on Netflix.
Okay.
And it followed,
I saw that pop up.
And it followed up after the main character, one of the main characters, Jesse Pinkman, after everything happened in Breaking Bad. This was a better lead-in or tie-up spin-off to a TV show than El Camino was. I actually kind of felt for these characters, and they were a lot more fleshed out. The problem with this one was just a lot of the plot didn't iron out.
Yeah,
the plot didn't iron out, and Tony Soprano was just kind of annoying.
There was too many people. It felt like too many stories. It felt like Crash, which I did not enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it felt like.
But that being said, you ready to get into our letter grades here?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, I am going to give this a B-.
All right.
It's a decent enough introduction to the Sopranos universe and a decent enough gangster movie altogether. After watching this movie, I do find myself wondering what happens next, which should be the goal of any prequel.
Yeah, that's actually really good, really well said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give this one a C-. I said this movie tried way too hard to take on the old mobster crime movies recipe and reinvent it. It couldn't match years of gangsterness, we'll say. The Departed was actually a better movie for me. Too many bases to cover that were just not built up properly. It wasn't fleshed out. And the storyline just felt clunky to me.
Well, The Departed was a high bar.
It was a high bar.
Because we're not. I don't.
But we're talking about the whole bubble of gangster movies here. So for me, if we're going to be talking about gangster movies, I didn't bring in one of my favorites, Goodfellas. I would have said, good. Goodfellas, but
also starring Ray Liotta.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever I see him, it's because of that movie, and I assume he's going to be the same guy, and I'm never disappointed when he is.
Yeah, I had to watch that in my film classes. back in the day.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, that was our hot take on the Many Saints of Newark. Is that the name of the movie?
Yeah, the Many Saints of Newark.
That is our take on the Many Saints of Newark for Clubhouse Movies Podcast. I am your host, Marco Bocabo from Mr. Abel Panetta. We will catch you next time.